So let's say that we do get in front of an agent. However we do that, regardless if it's a cold call or an inbound or referral from our agent on our team, how are we having conversations that actually get them across the finish line? Because here's what I'll let you guys know. Growing real estate teams and brokerages is simple, but it's not easy. And the same way that everyone on this call, I can almost guarantee you, and Justin, this is like totally your dojo, is constantly preaching to their agents that they need to be practicing their scripts and talk tracks so that they're not practicing on paychecks. The same thing is true with recruiting, right? These calls and conversations and how they're actually done, it's not something that you can just go into and, hey, I'm just gonna have conversations and hope for the best. If you say that or think that, you can't ever coach your agents on doing better and practicing their scripts more, because you are a hypocrite, my friend. And I'm speaking to myself in the mirror when I say this. Today, we're gonna go through some of the conversations, the tactical part of getting people across the finish line, how to explain your value prop, how to qualify an agent so you make sure that they actually fit from the 3C's perspective, and all the weird little nuances that go in between these things. Does this sound like a good plan for everyone? Okay, groovy like a drive-in movie. Let's jump in. What I'm gonna do this time, you like that? Justin likes my little...
You are full of these like what are they called? Like idioms?
Yeah.
Basically. You're like a really quirky Yoda is what you are.
It makes it interesting and fun. I'll keep pulling them out. What we wanna do today though, guys, and Justin and I were talking about this before, what I'm gonna do, if you guys are cool with it, is I'm gonna call on a couple of us. As we go through this, Justin and I don't know everything. Right? We know some good stuff, and we've got like this osmosis going on with a bunch of different teams and brokerages now, but I want to hear too how you guys are doing some of these things, because the reality is how we get really, really, really good at this. There's a quote, and again, sorry for the nerdiness, but I like reading. Spend your time studying the works of others so that you can easily gain what others have labored hard for, right? When we all share these ideas in Mastermind, guess what happens? We all get better, faster, all that cool stuff. So I'm gonna do this interactive today, and I'm gonna call on a couple of you guys to see how you're doing some of this stuff too, in addition to giving you the scripting and talk tracks and all that cool stuff. Does that sound like a plan? So qualifying agents, I like to use the word discovery versus qualifying because no one likes to be qualified. And then we'll talk about closing. I think this is something that in recruiting scenarios, most people are afraid of doing. Right? The closing part of this, I promise you, you can be direct and close without being pushy, right? Think about you guys in your real estate businesses now. I'm sure you ask for the business regularly. This is the part where I would pay attention, because I'm going to give you a framework that you can create your own outbound calling script, right? I'm going to give you my version. What you do with it though is up to you, and I would highly encourage you to customize it a little bit. So here's a couple of thoughts. When you're doing cold outreach, especially over the phone, there's a couple things you need to accomplish. Out of curiosity, who's gotten a really shitty cold recruiting call recently? Has anyone?
I still get them all the time, like constantly.
What do you think happens next? They only say really one of two things. Yeah, I guess I'd be open to hearing about it. Or they're gonna say no, and then you kind of rephrase your question and try again. This is a really simple intro that works. Success rate wise with a script like this, to give you guys some context, if I called 30 or 40 people, I was usually setting up 2 or 3 appointments, right? It's a very simple script and it works. And obviously everyone's value prop is different, but going at it like this is going to result in actual conversations getting started. Now I'm curious, for those of you guys that are actively recruiting now, and this is the part where I want to make this interactive, does anyone know Jimmy Mackin, out of curiosity? Does everyone know Jimmy Mackin from listingleads.com? Okay, Jimmy's a good friend of mine. When I need copywriting help, I call Jimmy Mackin.
He's the marketing guru.
Oh my God, he's insane, right? And when I need copywriting help, I call Jimmy Mackin. I said, Jimmy, I wanna write a really, really sick LinkedIn cold DM for our customers. Can you help me? Right? And him and I got on Zoom for like a half hour, 45 minutes and hammered this thing out. This exact template with a customer of ours that I run like super secret beta test projects with because they're willing to let me screw up and stuff. It's been a long time friend of mine. We sent about 1,000 of them over the course of like 3 or 4 months, right? Using some automation and some tools. You know what the response rate was on it? A cold LinkedIn message, like 15%, right? In terms of actually getting responses. Not saying conversion rate is 15%. Response rate on cold messaging being 15%. This is written like a masterful message. How many interview steps is a traditional real estate brokerage? 1, you show up to the face-to-face meeting and they slam your head on the table and say, sign, right? And like, give me your credit card and it's off to the races, right? Knowing that, and nothing, there's anything wrong with that, but that's like reality. That's what we're competing against. Sometimes if your interview process is 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, knowing that they're going to go into interactions where someone's going to try and close them on the spot after just a single meeting with them, you might start to lose out if it's too long, where they went with something else because it was convenient in front of them. In my opinion, with warm stuff, 2 is the magic number. Right? So it's 2-step. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna get on and have a discovery call, I call it, right? No one likes screening calls or interview. It's a discovery call. We're gonna learn a little bit more about each other. This call is 15 to 20 minutes long. There's 2 things that you're trying to accomplish on this call. This is it. Only 2 things. Whoa, I got balloons today. That's cool. The first is qualifying to what we call the 3 C's: culture, character, and coachability. That's priority numero uno. Have you ever hired someone that didn't fit the 3 C's before and regretted it later?
Every time.
All of us have, right? Doesn't matter how much real estate they sell, sometimes they suck and it's unavoidable. The second thing we want to do is pitch value prop and explain the how, not the what. I'm going to show you an exact example of that momentarily. The second interview is really simple. It's 45 minutes long. We're gonna qualify further and dig a little bit deeper in person. Out of curiosity too, this is funny that this is popping into my brain right now. The only question that I ever really asked during an initial phone screen, I'm gonna give it to you guys. It's the 5th one on here. I know what you're thinking, Chris, how can you determine if someone's a culture fit or a character fit based on asking them one question that takes them 2 minutes to reply to? And I'll tell you how. It only goes one of 2 ways. Having done, I don't know, probably 1,000 recruiting calls myself personally, right? Interviews with agents. This question only goes one of 2 ways. So I would say, Tammy, it's awesome. I appreciate you making the time to chat with me. Here's the agenda of our conversation. To get us started, tell me a little bit about the last 12 months of your real estate life. How's it been going as of lately? And then I would shut up. And guess what? That conversation only goes one of 2 directions, right? Direction 1, they're gonna say something along the lines of, yeah, Chris, so here's the deal, man. I've been licensed for 3 years. I'm working super hard. I crushed it during 2021 and 2022. And then when the market shifted, I started getting my butt kicked a little bit. The example I pulled out of a script, which you guys will get after we get off this call, is a really simple one to explain. And sure, this can be applied for any team or brokerage. You don't have to talk about leads. You can do this with training. You could do it with support that you provide. I think a trap that we all get stuck in is explaining the how, not the what, right? And what I mean by that is, we'll use Zillow for example, right? How many of you guys have ever spent money on Zillow leads and wasted it, right? Once upon a time with Premier Agent, where like when it first started, and I know what we're thinking, a lot of the people on this call run giant flex teams now. So they're like, dude, these are the greatest leads on the planet, right? The point I'm trying to make is most agents don't have that experience. So if, for example, Flex is a part of your value prop, if you tell an agent I have a Zillow Flex account, it's going one in ear and one out the other, right? It's not something where they understand the practicality of that. So I hear, and again, Humanize, we get thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of recruiting calls. So I hear this stuff pretty regularly. This is one of the only things that I would say you could take and almost read verbatim word for word, and it's going to result in good outcomes, right? I hate the pushy, I don't know if anyone's ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross. It's a great movie. The sales styles displayed in that movie are not what I'm going to teach you right now because it's a little pushy, but I'm gonna give you a really graceful, tactful way to actually get someone across the finish line. So let me set the stage. You've got someone you've pitched, you're now sitting there face to face with them, and it comes time for decision, right? That's where a lot of us struggle, I think, is that moment where it's like, okay, what happens next? When we think about closing and kind of continuing to set the stage, it isn't pressure, right? Pressure and this whole idea, please, the leads aren't weak, you're weak. That is an Alec Baldwin quote from Glengarry Glen Ross. It's epic. Thank you for that, Kelsey. Closing gets a bad rap. We're all closing everyone at every point in time, right? I don't think it's pressure. I think it's clarity and action.